Welcome to Concord, North Carolina. And we are here on the property of the old abandoned Stonewall Jackson Manual Training School. And I gotta say, this is one creepy piece of property. Not my first visit though. I've been here before, about 3 years ago. Good evening, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today on this little adventure as we're going to walk around some of these old condemned, abandoned buildings that makes up this school. So a training school for young folk back in the early 1900s is when this place actually opened. Get into a little bit of the history, talk about some of the dark stories that happen here. I've already done a deep dive on this place with a little bit more detail, but today I just want to do like a little bit of a revisit. A lot of people that watch the old video continuously put in the comments about their experiences here staying overnight, which yours truly is not going to do. I'm not that brave. I ain't afraid to admit it. I would not stay here. Some people think this place is haunted because of some of the things that happened here so many years ago. And I just want to share some stories with you. Here in October of 2025, we're only about a week or so away from Halloween. So let's go ahead and begin. Good to see you, good to have you here. So to begin our story, we have to go all the way back to the late 1800s. Here in North Carolina, juvenile boys who committed even minor offenses were treated much like adult criminals. For example, in 1890, a 13-year-old boy received a 3.5-year sentence on a chain gang for petty theft. So that event prompted James P. Cook, who was a newspaper editor here in Concord, to campaign over many years for a different system for youth offenders. He and others argued for a facility that troubled youths could actually be separated from adult prisoners, giving them education and training instead of purely just punitive treatment. So finally, James P. Cook finally found success in 1907 when the North Carolina General Assembly passed a law to establish the Stonewall Jackson Manual Training School and Industrial School. It was intended for male juvenile offenders. And the name of the school actually comes from the Confederate General Thomas Stonewall Jackson. And all that happened because some of the support groups was Confederate veteran groups. And that's how the name got placed on this training school. And the first principal here was Walter Thompson, who was a superintendent of the Concord City schools here in the area. So how the school was set up to operate is the facility combined academic and education, vocational industrial training, and agricultural work. Boys lived in these dormitory style buildings, which I think we're actually looking at one right here. So some of the trades that was included with the education for the boys that were staying here included shoemaking, printing, barbering, textiles, machining, among others. And farming was a significant part of their education, how to work in a field and how to take care of cattle. At its most full peak, around the mid 20th century, there was about 500 youths here at this training school. And another thing that they actually even had a newspaper, and it was called The Uplift. In the beginning, the school worked as it was intended, but over the years, abuse and overcrowding and violence among inmates, some alumni even report very harsh conditions, started to arise by the 1950s and 60s rolled around. So when you hear the term abuse, overcrowding, violence among inmates and things like that, it was really, really bad, because one of the things that came out about 1948, they were 6 teenage white males, some as young as the age of 14. Some of their punishment that they would get here would be sterilization, which is a vasectomy. So if the story about sterilization is not bad enough, there's more. There's actually a lot of sources and credibility around sexual abuse here at the school for the inmates. One story in particular was a witness by a name of Russell Dan Smith, who was said he was sexually abused while here between the ages of 13 and 15 in the 1960s. So he was being sexually abused, and then he said his parents were notified that they caught him willingly having a sexual act with another boy. Not that he was sexually abused, but he was willingly doing it, and then they get punished for that on top of that. So it was a really bad situation for the people that was staying here in the 50s and 60s especially. And then after all that being said, corporal punishment and abuse was also a big problem. Beatings were reportedly routine. One person on a Reddit post claiming firsthand experience said that in the 1960s, daily beatings occurred, sometimes up to 200 lashes. For example, he claimed he received 76 lashes for smoking a cigarette. So that would definitely get you up to speed here on the training school here in Concord from the early 1900s up into the mid, 1960s and stuff. I did read some more stories. I've seen stuff in my comments where people stayed here in the 70s up and into the 80s, and they had definitely changed. Things had gotten a lot better at that time, so that was really good to hear. And then they actually shut this one down. It's very, a lot of the property here is very deteriorated. I don't know what it looked like in the 80s back when they were closing this place down, but they did build a brand new facility just behind this one on the property right here. And I've only heard good things from that one too. A lot of these practices was just for about a 2-decade period, the late 40s up into the 60s, right there in that about 20-25 years it was like that. And I really feel bad for anybody that stayed here and they got any kind of treatment like that, number one. And but all in all, it is a little bit of history I wanted to share with you today. And one thing I did want to see while I was here is the bridge has been removed. They actually removed the bridge. It used to extend out over Old Charlotte Road, and it would take you over there to the old chapel, which is also connected as part of this property. But yeah, man, they moved it and took it out of here probably about 1.5 years ago. I have been here on the property since then, but in my first video, I actually walk across this very bridge. But they definitely moved it. I guess it was probably not structurally sound. Nobody's really keeping up with anything over here, but there used to be a bridge extended right across here. There's a lot of photos of it, and it was also very creepy because on the bridge, it actually said like Stonewall Jackson School or something other, and like it's a wrought iron metal, and it was kind of creepy looking. But all right, my friends, I think that is going to pretty much wrap it up for me today. I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me in this crazy Stonewall Jackson manual training school. We walked the grounds. I told you a little bit about the history of this place. I think it's good to learn about history from time to time. This place is on the National Register of Historic Places, so I know in the past people have emailed me, and I've even read comments in some of the videos where they say, all the bad stuff that happened there, why don't they just knock that place down? It's just got a negative cloud over it. But I think when things are on that National Register, I don't think they can knock it down, I don't believe. I've never heard of that before. So I guess the other thing is, are they ever going to do anything with this old school? I mean, it just sits down here. Somebody's got to take care of the grounds. It still has the driveway and everything. And about 1 year or so ago when I was here driving through town, I noticed a big tree over here that fell across this fence and actually hit the front of the building. And it's been removed, so somebody's taking care of something. And that just begs me to wonder, like, are they ever going to fix it up or do anything, or even put another bridge across Old Charlotte Highway that they removed? Who knows? That chapel over there, you could still use those structures. They look like they're in still pretty good shape, even though, I mean, you think about it, this place is, 115 years old? I mean, it's got a lot of age to it. But all that being said, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching, for real. Until next time, friends, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you on my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again soon. And just take one last look before we depart. That is one creepy place. I bet Scooby-Doo and Shaggy would not even venture into that structure right there. And I know you guys probably didn't just see this, but there was a bat like fly out of here and kind of go around. If it would have been a little bit higher, you probably could have seen him in with the black glow of the sky. But anyway, let's go ahead and get on out of here while we still can, before Batman comes home. Yeah. This is one creepy place.